Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG. I'm Sovereign. We're back in Dark Age Camelot today. Eden Season 3 beta test, and we did a lot of testing last night. A lot of stuff got done. We went through a lot of the mechanics. We went through a lot of the different campaign stuff, all the war supplies, the war boons. I'm going to show you what they do, how they do it. Now, there's going to be some footage that's going to be in the background because it's been an absolute mess all over the Realm War. And because we're on Hib, we've had Alb and Mid attacking the crap out of us for 3 straight days. And the population is going down a little bit on the Hib side. I don't know if you can tell on some of the days, especially during the EU time, maybe there's 50% Mid. And then it started to slow down a little bit at night to be more evened out. So I'm guessing as the beta progresses that will be dropping a little bit, but it's not going to be too big of a deal. But I had to go over and start a Scald. We did it with Happy, one of our guild mates. We went and started 2 Scalds just to run around because it was the only realm that had the towers available with keeps in the area for us to do it. So when I'm explaining a few things, I'll have some footage in the background for you guys so you can see what it actually does. There was some footage that I couldn't get through. There was some corruptions on some of the things like the Battle Boar, which I would love to have shown you because it's pretty damn awesome, but I will explain to you what it does and how you summon it. We're going to be doing the same for the Golem. We're going to be doing the same for all of the summoners and the resurrectors and all this kind of stuff, forward bases and stuff like that. I do have pictures and images for all of it. Right, so let's just go over what we have on the minimap. Now, it's going to be a little bit small on this screen probably because I have a massively big resolution on this monitor, and for some reason I can't make this thing any bigger on this. Like the UI, if I stretch it, it has all these red lines going through it, so it's kind of annoying. But on the minimap that I'll put up on the picture right now, you'll have the different symbols on the map. Different symbols on the map, you'll have trees for Hib ones and Hib area, you'll have mid for mid ones, and chalices for the Alb ones, red, green and blue, and they will pop up on the map. Now currently on this mini map here you can see that there are 3 sizes of trees. Now I'm going to try and get as good an image as I can of this. It might be a little bit blurry and I apologize for that, but the big trees you're going to be fighting bosses. So these bosses have several different variations. You have a dragon, you have a giant, and you have some sort of ghostly being type thing. Now some of them do AoE mezzes, some of them do AoE stuns, some of them do massive PBOE damage where it can like take some tanks out if you're not too careful about when the damage is coming through. They do significant amount of damage. Now I haven't got any footage for those ones there because that one actually broke, but we did that with Hib side and I'm pretty sure a lot of you do know the mechanics of that one already. Now for the medium one, you're going to be having one of 2 options. Now there will be PvE mobs that turn up at these locations. Now I would run over there right now to show you what it is. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try and get to it and not like get absolutely blasted along the way. We'll have to see how it goes. We'll teleport over to Enged. I shouldn't really be on my bloody Animus considering it doesn't have speed of any kind. And if we get hit, but I'm having a lot of fun with the Animus. So right, let's go outside. I'll run us over to the direction of that. And then once we get there, I'll show you what it looks like, one of these bosses, and then I'll explain to you what it'll be easier that way. Now, just a quick note, these icons only appear on the Realm War map. They won't appear on your mini map, which would be a lot nicer, but it's kind of a little separate thing that they have in this. The Realm War map will show you it. And we're heading towards the big tree over here. Now, it can be anywhere around this area. It's going to be... Oh, this one is going to be, I think it's going to be kill a load of these guys. Maybe, no, maybe not. Go a little bit further down. It should be a pinnacle boss. Oh, no, it's these guys. Oh, what's that? What's that? Oh, it's Hibs. It's Hibs. It's fine. So these guys are part of the this one here. So this larger one here. Now you're going to be killing a load of these. Let's give these guys a little bit of a hand. It'd be quite nice for them to get this. So we'll do that. I'll pop my actual potion here. So these guys just kill a certain amount of enemies in the area. So we're going to quickly just kill all these dudes, and you'll see that they have like a guild name underneath it. We're just going to pop these and just try and kill them. I haven't got many buffs right now. We've got no druid or anything, so let's just kill these. Come on. Oh, it's Smap. Smap's here. Nice. Right, so let's kill the rest of these dudes. Let's just get some AoEs in here. I'm arboreal spec. That's why I haven't got any forest hearts or anything up. Come on. They're just going to keep spawning. I suppose while we're talking about it, we'll talk about the little ones as well. So you have the little ones that will pop up. They're really tiny on this mini map. It's really hard to see sometimes, but they pop up around this area between Ben and Bolg for the Hib side. I'm not massively certain on the mid and the Alb side because they haven't had the front line there yet, so we don't really know yet. So the smaller ones are usually in between Ben and Bolg in this area in the center, or they'll be over towards the relic gates on the south and on the west. Those are usually where they are, and they'll be turning up there. Now those ones are really simple, they're easy. They're just a teleporter that pops up like a portal. It's just a standard looking portal, and you right click it, it closes the portal, and a box drops on the floor, you pick it up. Yes, it's always that yes or yes. There's not really any differences that we've seen. Now I only thought that killing these were for the medium level ones and never the larger level ones. I always thought that was the case. I didn't think it was actually on the larger ones, because every time I've gone and fought a larger one, and we fought quite a few of them so far, they've all been big boss ones. So there's just been a big boss there. I'm getting absolutely killed by these bears. I should stop probably AoEing and talk a little less. But those little ones are always portals. The medium ones are either scouts, and if you remember the good old days where they did the scout thing and they spawn an 8-man versus 8-man, you'll have one on your side, one on their side, you got to fight them. It's kind of like an AI group where they'll do very similar things that you'll get from doing the different, like fighting an average ALB group or an average mid group. They'll have a healer, they'll have some support, they'll be doing some stuns and some dots, and they'll be doing CC and stuff like that, like just like any other group would be. And it actually popped up the first time. I was sitting there and I was actually like, what the, like I thought we were being attacked, but I was like, there's real ALBs there, because I was kind of expecting something to come up, but I didn't realize that it was going to be like that bloody realistic with the names and everything. It was actually kind of cool. But that's going to be for the medium one, and the other medium one is killing these like random mobs. Kill 10 of them. Now we're obviously having to kill a lot more here, so that's the end of that one. That's a large one here as well, so you'll be able to pick this up. They'll go off to the area. I'm just going to write them a little note. Yeah, so I didn't realize that the big ones could have the opportunity of doing kill us X amount of mobs, because that's usually the medium one. So you have the small ones with the portals, you have the medium ones with the scouts, which is the 8v8 type thing where you're going to be fighting alongside them. They usually require 4 to 8-man, and then 2 groups usually for the boss ones, for the big boss ones. You can see down here there's a medium one here, which is usually one of those, and then there's a little one just below it, really small. Another big one's popped up over here. I wish I was on one of my speed classes, but I'm not right now, so it's a bit of a nightmare. Now something that's really important, we'll just talk while I run next. It's taken me an absolute age. We'll talk about what happens when you're running it. When you saw that bit that was on the floor, it comes up and you pick up war supplies. Now depending on the size of them, there could be more than one, or there can be one. So usually the small one only gives you 1, the medium one will give you 2, and then it goes up to higher amounts for the larger ones. I haven't been able to pick those ones up yet, so I haven't seen exactly the amount that you would get from the larger ones. But when you pick those war supplies up, I'll put a little bit of footage up that I also have right now where you'll see the timer. It's like a relic timer. When you pick up the relic, you can only hold it for a certain amount of time before it drops. You need to get the war supplies to the area in which you want to drop them off. Say you have a keep with your guild or a tower with your guild and you want to upgrade it. We'll talk about all the upgrades in a little bit as well. But once you go through and you get the war supplies, you want to take it to a specific tower or a specific keep. Once you plant them inside the keep, now I've heard rumors that you're able to move them back into your bag, and please, by God, let me know down below how you figured out how to do that, because we tried literally everything to get them out of there. So I'm going to say, for the moment, as much as I know right now, you cannot take them out once you put them inside. So you have to be careful where you're putting these resources. Now we're going to go into this tower because I'll show you where you can drop it off, and I'll show you where you can drop it off in the keep as well. God, that took a hot minute to get in there. Right, so we're going to go up to the top of the keep. You're going to go up to the Lord room, and if you're in a tower that you want to take it and a tower that you want to upgrade for your guild, etc. Now you're going to warm up, you're going to right click on this and you're going to click deposit, and if you have any in it, it will come into the personal side of the available supplies, and that will be only in this tower. Now again, I just want to reiterate that as far I could not figure out a way to move it out. I can move it to other people in the same tower and it goes into their personal stash, or you can put it in a stash. Now we'll go through these 2 options that we have here. We have personal and stash. Now personal only you can use. Stashed, you put it in here and it becomes only available to the guild and alliance that guild is part of, for them to use out of the stash of the owned tower and the owned keep. Please bear that in mind. Now we have the supply commander that pops up in here. Now there's several different things that you can get from this guy. You can get a teleporter. Now the teleporter will turn up on the floor down below, and so will the corpse summoner in a tower. In a keep, they'll be inside the central part of the keep as well. We'll talk about what a teleporter does. So the teleporter allows you to port your guildmates or alliance mates of the owner of the tower. depending on the settings that you have as the guild leader. And that will allow you to port, and I'll have a bit of a video in the background for me porting to a forward base. I haven't got any recording of us teleporting to a tower because we were unable to grab any towers. All guilds were grabbing towers all over the place. We couldn't get it, and I really tried to get a tower ownership with the guild, but it just didn't happen, so I couldn't get that. But I do have a video in the background of me teleporting from the area in which you do it, and this is going to be on the hib side. On the mid side, you're going to be doing it in the relic towns as well. If you remember the old event teleporter that you teleport to Koth with, or the new, like you see it pop up, it goes, you go to EV or you go to the Colosseum. Now you use that one to teleport, and it will come up with a list, and it will say in there the tower of your guild or alliance. And if you have a forward base, which is just a large icon, the same as on here. So this giant hib icon, if say for instance we are in attacking Alb side, there'll be a giant hib icon here, and it will show you exactly where the forward camp is for your realm. And you'll go to this exact guy here, you'll speak to him, and you can port to the forward camp or the tower. They'll have different options on there. There's normally, if there's a tower involved, there's 4 options. If there's no tower involved, there's 3 options. Now, the Corpse Summoner kind of works how the Egg did in Trials of Atlantis back in the day. It will, but instead, there is a slight little difference. If you haven't got anyone to res, the Corpse Summoner won't work. Now, we don't have the distance of where they drag the bodies in, because what it does, it will drag the bodies, not resurrect them, it will just drag the bodies inside the tower where the Corpse Summoner is. So you'll have a pile of dead bodies in here. If you have no one to resurrect them, it doesn't mean shit, doesn't do anything. You just kind of have to have someone there to resurrect at least. So it'll drag all the bodies in, then you have to start resing everyone. They might have res sicknesses. It kind of makes it not as overpowered as it would be if you could just resurrect everyone into the tower at once when dwarves or mids or hibbies are attacking. So it's actually kind of a way to balance that out. I think that's a really cool mechanic in that way, that you can just drag all the bodies in and start resurrecting, rebuffing, getting everything ready just before. If you just couldn't make it in, but you sauced and your bard managed to get through, or your druid managed to get through with his realm rank 5 and immortality. I wish I had that on the Animist. Instead, I just turn into a mushroom that moves, and everyone knows I'm that mushroom. Anyway, enough of that complaining. So that's what the Corpse Summoner does. Now let's talk about the Siege Roof. Now the Siege Roof and the Reinforced Door, we'll talk about them both at the same time. The Corpse Summoner and the Teleporter both require one of the war supplies. Now if you're the guild involved, the guild leader, or people that have the ability to actually use the supply command on a guild, you can use it from the stash tab, but otherwise you have to go grab it and have the personal stash tab put in here, and you can go into the supply commander and just grab those for one war supply each. Now the Siege Roof and Reinforced Door, they take 2 siege supplies each. Now the Siege Roof just allows you to have more health on the tower when you're getting trebucheted. So if the tower's getting trebucheted, it gives you more HP. The Reinforced Door does the same thing. It's 2 times the HP so far that we've figured out from the way it is, and it actually, the Reinforced Door upgrades when the tower upgrades. So if the tower isn't level 10, like the amount of HP will upgrade. It won't just stay low with a Reinforced Door level 1, etc. So you can actually, it does raise with the levels as far as we've been able to tell. Now that just makes it a lot harder for you to hit the doors. So if you have a Reinforced Door on a level 10 tower, it can take a significant amount of time with the ramp. Now there are ways around this with the Reinforced doors, as you'll find out, which I don't really know if it's a problem or not, but it is definitely something that we've tested on multiple different towers of multiple different levels, so you can be rest assured that it does actually work. So let's talk about the next little part in this, which is the Summon Siege Golem. Now I do have a little bit of footage of us on the mids just running over there and just getting them to get in it to attack a tower. Now there are some things to know with this Summon Golem. The Summon Golem itself can only be summoned to any of the towers and keep in a certain area. So for instance, I am currently inside of this tower. I'm inside the Enged Tower over here, the Enged Guard Tower. Now, if we don't have access, say the mids own Enged Outpost, or the one over here with the Watchtower, they own those. If I was to summon a golem from here by going right click, we go to personal or stash, depending on if you're in the guild or if you just have stuff buried here. You can summon the Siege Golem. It will come up with a pop-up. Now, I don't have any targets in range with this one. It will come up with a pop-up saying, which one do you want to attack? Now, we don't have either of these towers. We don't have either the Outpost or the Watchtower. We don't have any of them. They're both mid. So what will come up here is the Outpost and the Watchtower, and you pick, just as you've done here with the yellow, just what we do here. If we're just going to pick up the corpse summoner, it'll come up and you click accept. We're going to attack the watchtower this time. So we'll click on watchtower, then click accept. Now what it's going to do, as you can see in the video in the background, is it's going to run from here to there. So you got to be kind of strategic because it can like get killed along the way. Mids, albs, they can attack you on the way. If you're in mids, then hibs and albs can do the same thing. But it runs all the way up to the tower. Put a little bit of a speed up in here so you can see exactly where it's going and how it gets to there. Now these golems do a significant amount of damage. They do 3% per hit. And that even happens on the lowest level tower and the highest level towers. I haven't noticed any difference. It's always 3% and they hit really fast. We got a level 10 tower with a reinforced door down stupidly quickly as long as we kept the actual golem up. Now the golem is called also a treant on Hib, and I'm not sure what it is on Alb right now. I apologize for that, but there's difference. So the golem is the big cyclops on the mid side and the treant on the Hib side. It might be like, I think actually I do know what it is. It's a giant Cabalist pet. It's a giant simulacrum. So when you actually it goes over to the tower, and once it knocks the door down, it will then disappear. That's its job done. You go inside, you take the tower. Now, if it dies, you still have to kill the rest of the door. If you have more war supplies, you can send another one over to it. One thing we didn't test is if you can send multiple at the same time. I don't think you can. Let me know down below if you can do that. That would be quite interesting to know. I didn't think about trying that at the time, and I feel kind of stupid for not doing that, but maybe you can send 3 at a time and it'll knock a tower down really quickly. Now, these golems, as far as we were able to test, could not attack the keep. So they can't attack the keeps. That is only for the next option. They can only attack the tower. And remember, guys, if you have any questions, please ask down below. I'll answer any of the questions that you might have. And I know this is kind of like a big info dump, and I apologize for that, but we're just going to try and get through. I want everyone to be able to figure this stuff out because there's always a lot of questions around this. Now, lastly, we have a Bomb Boar. Now, the Bomb Boar is just a giant pig with some barrels on it that explodes. Now, they're very useful when attacking a CK, but they cannot open these CK all the way. You can't open, say for instance, the mids have and get and we're in this tower. There's 2 rules for this specific one. You have to be in the tower closest to the keep, the main keep. We try to do it from some of the other towers. Say we're in the watchtower over there. It will not send a boar from there. You can only do it from the one that is closest. So it will run from the front of the tower down here, and it will run up to the closest wall. Say it's probably the closest wall that we can break down, and it will blow up once it hits that. Now, it does a massive amount of damage to the wall. It is a massive 50% damage to the wall. Now, this was a red keep. It wasn't fully leveled up, but the red keep took 50% damage, and it was, we were only able to test it in one way because there was only one keep that was available with a tower that we had next to it, and we didn't have anyone on at the time to take any more towers, so we could only test it on the one keep. It does 50%, so the wall can be blown up. If you're doing trebuchets, get it to 50%, get it just below 50%, then pull up a boar and it does the rest of it. It can shock and awe the enemy into thinking, Jesus Christ, what's happening? They don't know if it's going to come up, so they're going to be a little bit more hesitant about getting on the walls themselves, etc. So it will just run out the front door. It will run up to the hole in the wall. Now, they can kill it on the way. They can slow it. They can root it. They can stun it. It can be slowed down, but it will go run up and it will blow itself up and then it'll blow a hole in the wall after you use 2 of them, or if you use it, as I said, in a more strategic way, where you can just surprise them by using trebuchets, and they might think you don't have any war supplies. Then when it gets to 48%, drop a pig and boom, you have a hole in the wall. You still have to break the ram in there, and you still have to break down the inner door. That's something that you're going to have to do. It only gets you so far. Now let's go inside the keep so I can show you real quick exactly where the different areas where you can actually do it. So that it's going to be in the CK in the central keep over here. I spoke so much during that I literally ran out of haste and speed. That's insane. And next time I'll definitely not be doing this on a bloody animus, that's for damn sure. Right, so we're going to run inside the keep over here. Now it's going to be on the floor with the Lord room. And as we go up the set of stairs up here, we'll go up and around. Now the summoner and that usually spawn in these alcoves. It depends on the type of keep, but at least in here, they're spawning over here. Summoner usually over here, and a teleporter as well will stand in the corner on this side. So you know exactly where you are if you're running around. Now you have the box here to drop your deposit or you move stuff. And we had like this one has a corpse summoner in this room over here, so it will summon all the corpses that have died around the keep and summon them to this spot, and you just res them. The portal guy must be downstairs then in this floor down here. At least in this keep, the corpse summoner is up on this side, and you can speak to the supply commander here. That's just the locations of where it is in the keep. Now from the keep itself, so you can't do the bombs and you can't do the golems from the keep. You can only do the siege roof, and you cannot do the reinforced doors, but I believe that's because this one already has the reinforced doors. Just because it isn't shown here right now doesn't mean that it's not actually there. Jesus, I'm talking absolutely huge amounts of stuff. We went through a lot of stuff last night, and I wanted to get this video as quickly as possible so everyone can start to understand what's going on. Now, I wasn't able to be part of the EV raid, which is the 5-man type thing where you go in there and you fight each other by putting up different towers. You have to build up the towers and win whilst being in EV. Now, this allows you to actually choose where the front line is going to be. This is how it works, as simple as I can put it without over talking, as I have been for the whole entire video. But as soon as what happens right now, Hib is the front line. Hib is missing 3 keeps over here, and we're missing quite a significant amount of towers because Alb and Mid hate us and they want us to quit playing the game. Obviously, that was just me being a little bitch there. I'm just joking. Once we take all these keeps and all these towers and we take the Hib back, it will start the mission to be able to go into EV to build up some towers it's a 5v5 type thing. At least as far as I'm aware on this front. Again, as I said, I haven't tested it. I've just been told by people that were doing it this morning on the mid side, where they got to, at the end of it, after they built some towers and stuff, they're fighting, they won, they get resources to the different towers, and they got to choose where the front line was. Now, they chose the front line to be Hib, obviously, because they hate us, but they chose it to be in Hib. Now, they couldn't choose for it to be in Alb, even if they wanted to, because Alb didn't have any of the relics. Alb do not have any of their relics. Mids have their relics right now. We have Merlin Staff over in the Faced over here, and the Scabbard of Excalibur in Glenlock. So they have both of those. So you cannot pick the front line in Albion currently. Now, as I said earlier, once you get all of your area back, you can start the event to stop the front line being in your area, and you can send it over to Midgard if we win, or Midgard can keep it in Hibland if they win. Now, I believe, I can't be 100% sure on this because we haven't had enough days, there is a 3-day limit on the front line being in a certain area, then it'll switch over to the next one. Now, if mids take all of our relics, which they haven't, I believe they took 1. Did they take 1? I believe they did. I think they took 1 yesterday. So they currently have most of the relics except for 1. So they can keep, which is kind of a bit of a bad thing. Now, you might be thinking this might cause the front line to always be in Hibernia. That's not the case. I believe, as far as I know, I need to confirm this information, but there's a 3-day limit on it. Then it will switch over to Midland. And if no one's taking Midland, then it will stay in Midland. Then it will switch after 3 days to Hibland, because Alb don't have any relics. If they take their relics back, or we take their relics and give it back to the Alb, so the front line can stop being in Hib for a day or 2, because it's killing the population on this side. Now, if the Hibs go over there and take the Alb relics, then we give it back to the Albs, you know, just to allow the front line to be over there for a little bit so they can have some fun too. And it's not just the mids putting it in Hibland all the time. Then we can swap it around after 3 days, and it will keep switching and swapping. So let's talk about the / campaign. You just type in / campaign and this box will pop up. Now, I really wish I had better, like it was better to be able to zoom into this. But what you have is the task progress. Now, this is taking over the tasks themselves, where you go in and you'd get the personal task and the group task. This is taking over that wholly, and there is multiple levels of what you can do with this. So at the top of this campaign progress, you'll see that it starts on the 5th of January and it ends on the 12th of January. And you have your current level and the max level. So it'll tell you when it ends and what time it ends, and then you'll get your share of the RP pool depending on how many relics that you've got. So mids would get a massively significant amount of RPs for doing this right now. Now, if you go to look just below it, you've got the task progress. Now, the different tasks you've got going concurrently at the same time, they all go at the same time. You've got players killed, capture or defend keeps, participate in small fights. Small fights are anything smaller than 8v8. You got capture or defend towers, different levels. So we completed level 1 and it will pop up underneath level 2. The first level, you'll need only 2 to complete that. The second level, you'll need 10 towers to complete that, and it goes up and up and up as you go through the higher levels. Now, frontline participant is part of you fighting in an area and taking a keep in an area or a tower or something like that, just over a period of time once you get the tick to be part of the front line. It's in Hib, so I'm obviously going to be in. You've got kill the behemoths, which the first one you need to kill 10. They are the large trees that we talked about on the Realm War map. As they pop up over here, behemoths will come here, and sometimes they'll be what we just saw earlier, which is weird because we didn't run into that for hours. So it was very weird to see that. It was actually lucky that we saw it during the video. I was able to explain it. And then we've got another one, which is capture or defend relics. Pretty self-explanatory. Deliver war supplies, taste of blood victor, big game hunter, which is the bosses that are already in the frontiers. The big game hunters are like when you run the dragon and stuff that you got inside of the frontier zones. Next to Pock, I believe it is in here. There is a dragon near there. That's another one. Taste of Blood is what the EV area is called, the Taste of Blood event. So you have to go and win that, where you can choose the front line. Then you got the Taste of Blood participants. So that's for secondary. If you didn't win, then you just get a runner-up prize. You need to do 2 of those if you participated in Taste of Blood, and this will raise your campaign level, which will raise the amount of RPs you get as a person for completing the campaign. Now that is everything that I know so far about war supplies, war boons, how to teleport, what they all do, and hopefully I was able to clear the air for some of you guys. I will be doing more guides and more content on a lot of various things that come with Eden in season 3, and also some very big beginners guides where we're going over the beginners. If you've never really been an RvR, you want to know more about RvR, if you want to know more about PvP, I'll be doing separate beginners guides for the different areas within the game. So make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already for all your Dark Age goodness. I want to thank you for watching, fly safe, and avoid local chat scams.